All right, what's going on, people? Welcome to the Captain America Spoiler Alert!
Blah!
I'm your host, Tony Polanco from DualShockers, and I am here with Emilio Lopez, who is actually Captain America tonight.
Yes, I'm Captain America.
We got JJ from the Koalition.
What is up, people?
Got my boy Brian, also from STFUandPLAY.
Hey, people. What's up?
And my site mate, George, and you always go last, dude. You know why.
All right. So let's talk about S.H.I.E.L.D. By far the worst international spy agency in the world. In history? Yes, no, maybe?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, we're going to spoil the movie, or we're just going to talk about it and stuff. I'm just going to start by saying this movie was fucking awesome. Like just watching those trailers alone got me all hyped up, but just seeing the movies, like, this was like the best like action movie I've seen in a long time. It was like Patriot Games with a superhero. Great.
I was gonna say James Bond with a guy in a super suit and superhero powers. I'll go into that a little bit later too.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a great film.
What about the rest of you guys? Let's just give our little impressions, and we'll go deep into it.
I will say this is probably one of the better Marvel films because, again, much like how like The Dark Knight was to like the superhero genre for mystery films and detective films, this is what it's like for action films to the Marvel universe and superhero flicks. Because when I was watching it through the whole time, I felt I wasn't watching a superhero film. I'm watching an action, like a hardcore like war or modern day war movie, modern day action film like that. That it kind of took me away from, okay, this is Captain America. I'm just looking at it for what's happening on there. It didn't pay mind to me, and I love that.
Yeah, I got the same impression. I was like, this is just a kick-ass action movie, you know? And they don't really make too many of those nowadays, so I loved every second of that.
Yeah, great spy thriller vibe to it the whole time there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, towards the middle.
That's why I said it kind of just reminded me of a really good James Bond film. You know, I mean, if you think about it, you know, I was thinking about this today. It kind of reminded me of GoldenEye.
You know what? It reminds me a little bit of was it Enemy of the State? Do you guys remember that movie?
I remember.
Yes.
Kind of reminds me of that because when they're talking about like don't trust anyone or whatnot, that was immediately the first movie that popped into my head, and it felt very similar.
But I thought for the GoldenEye thing, I was like, essentially, what's his face is like the rogue agent, and he kind of takes down, MI6 and all kinds of stuff like that. It's has that bit of air, which is great. I really like the fact that these films, at least this film has kind of taken it into a direction that it really should kind of be, because Captain America is kind of like a single man action film, like a James Bond film, and I'm glad that they kind of went more in that direction, more spy, more stuff like that. You know what I mean? You know
what's also interesting too? This is the first, like, one of the better examples of the Marvel Universe films where it has its own flavor, kind of like piggybacking off of what you said, where it wasn't like how Iron Man 2 was, where it relied heavily on a lot of Avengers established stuff or stuff to lead in to Avengers. I kind of like this because the stuff that was nods to other things in the Marvel movie universe, and also specifically Avengers, were very subtle. Like, did you guys catch the thing where they talked about Doctor Strange?
Yeah, it just
very subtle, very quick.
The troublemakers like Stephen Strange. I'm like,
Yeah, that was very, very quick, very subtle. Then, especially obviously towards the end, after credits and whatnot. But it was very subtle, and it still maintained its own flavor. It was a Captain America movie. It wasn't an Avengers tie-in movie.
Yeah, and that's actually Brian. You wrote a review of the movie, and that's exactly what you said. You said this movie didn't feel like a glorified trailer for the Avengers like the first one did.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys just pretty much summed up my whole review, so I'm gone now. Thanks.
Bye,
everybody.
That's Stephen
but seriously, it was a real good movie. Like, I was pleasantly surprised because I seen the trailers and I was like, this film looks a bit okay. It might be as good as the first one. It might not be. But then I went in and it was one of the best movies I've seen so far. It's definitely a worthy addition to the Marvel universe.
You know what I like too? I like how they implemented a lot of different elements from Captain America comics specifically into this movie that were very sort of like the first villain that you see him fighting when he's on the barge. That's Beltruck. That's the French dude. He's like a really kind of like a throwaway character. Well, not really a throwaway character, but a very campy character in the Captain America comics. But they kind of utilized him in a good enough way where he wasn't like overpowering. He wasn't like over campy or whatnot. But it's still true to his character. And the fight scene that he had with Captain America, I thought was badass.
You know, I need to
I think all of them.
that. Yeah, like the choreography in this movie was fucking amazing. Like that's one of the things I liked about the original movie. Like he did a lot of parkour stuff, and this one he did like a lot more stuff. Like everything just flowed well with each other. Like he drove these crazy stunts, beat the shit out of dudes, and then just keep running around and stuff. And I love the fact that he's Captain America. He's fighting normal dudes. Every time he punched someone, they go flat.
Yeah.
That's what
I love the Captain America kicks throughout that movie. Was incredible. Like, guy through a console, guy through a window, through a wall. I was like, all right. I'm a big fan of just movie kicks like that. Like, if you watch SVU, like when Stabler kicks over the door with short legs, I was like, I love this guy. Like,
yeah, that's always the best, man. So yeah, they did a really good job with that. I was like, damn. And for a PG-13 movie, this was pretty brutal when it came to those fights, man.
Yeah, well, I know, right? Well, that guy that gets thrown into the helicopter blades.
Yeah, I was like, damn,
that was cool.
I mean, granted, they put a big explosion around him so that it covered up the fact that he gets chopped into a million pieces, but still.
You know what was great too? The way they utilized the shield, because unlike in the first movie where it was like very, very, very CGI feel and it was very only CGI, a lot of the cuts and a lot of things that they were doing, especially during the fight scenes when he's fighting multiple dudes, very subtle, but you could still feel the power of that shield every time he threw it, every time it hit something. Yeah. Even when he's fighting the Winter Soldier himself, you still get that sense like, whoa, this is like, some shit is going down right now.
Particularly when the metal arm and the shield collided, you got that nice little sound effect that came there. And it was like, yeah, there was some weight and power behind both guys when they were just kind of...
I also liked the fact that Bucky's arm was not a CG arm. Like, they didn't have a CG arm on him. They actually had a physical, like, prop on his arm. And
we're going to just call him Bucky, right?
We just call him Bucky. We can call him Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, me and Tony got a really good like gasp from the crowd while we were watching the film when that reveal came up.
Yeah, because I honestly believe no one would know. They show him like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, yeah. And then they show him, and everybody's like, oh shit, that's his nigga. That's literally what the guy said.
I thought it was, even if you're not like caught up on it, I thought it was kind of telegraphed fairly early. It's like, man, he's spending a lot of time thinking about this dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's him.
There's a lot of foreshadowing in it, and there's a lot of stuff, especially when it goes to the museum, that you definitely see that. It's like it's instantly given away, like this is going to happen. But I think that was much more so little bits of fan service to the people that follow the comics, that have read the Winter Soldier comics or whatnot, that they knew, like, okay, this was coming up or whatnot. But I'm pretty sure that if you never even read the comics, you were in for a real treat. Because I think everything was handled tastefully.
Yeah.
I also think that, granted, the trailers haven't shown that much of his face. There was a couple that showed his face, but not enough of it, and I'm glad that they kind of kept it down.
I thought it was kind of stupid that after they revealed who he actually was, he just stopped wearing his mask. The movie was like, hey, you know who he is already. No need to hide that anymore. It's like,
I don't need to wear a mask.
I think it was fine, because I think at this point, it's like, it made sense in the context, because after his mask gets thrown away during that fight, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be like, oh, hold up, let me go grab the mask real quick.
Well, give him another one, man.
man, just like any sort of thing, he probably has multiples. It's like, it's not like you're losing an accessory to a fucking action figure. It's like, oh shit, I lost my gun, can't use it anymore.
Yeah, you know what it was. It was like, the audience.
I lost my mask. They don't make any
Let me ask you guys this question. Like, towards the end of the movie, because since we're spoiling the entire movie.
We're not doing this. We're going
after the credits. I'm not talking about the Avengers time, because I want to talk about that a little bit later. But the part where it actually shows Bucky in the museum, when he's actually looking at the stuff where he actually sees like different things about Bucky Barnes, whatnot. What did you guys think of that? Like, leaving it open that he's still alive, that he's still around.
Well, isn't the actor signed for like 9 Marvel movies? So I think he signed for a ton of Marvel movies. So we're gonna see the Winter Soldier again. I'm convinced that in either the next Avengers movie or the next Captain America movie, Captain America is actually going to be killed by Crossbones, and then Bucky will just like take the mantle of Captain America, which is, I mean,
it makes sense because that happens in Civil War. And Civil War is a big thing with Captain America.
And I kind of like that Crossbones survived, bro. What was his name? Rudlow? Brock? What's his
Truck?
Yeah, Rumlow, or whatever his name was. He survives and he's all covered in scars, so he's got an agenda. So yeah, hopefully.
Oh yeah, that's right. Towards the end of the movie,
they showed you that for a reason. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he survived a helicarrier crashing into a building and then being swallowed up by it, and then he's in one piece.
Movie logic, ladies and gentlemen. Movie logic.
Yeah.
The one non-superhero guy. He just miraculously survived. But that scene though, I didn't have I mean, it was a little bit kind of throwaway. It was just more like, yeah, he's gonna be in more movies. This is what I wanted to happen. Remember that little kid that looked at Captain America and they gave him a little wink? I wanted that to happen with Bucky. It would have been corny as shit. But it would have been funny. A kid like
snaps his neck.
Like, yeah, it's me, kid.
Me, I'm alive. And I look exactly the same as I did.
But with that said, even though it did, it felt like its own movie, like an action movie, it still felt like it was having in the Marvel universe. They threw so many little hints in there.
Oh yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Like they even threw fucking Arnim Zola in there. I'm like, okay, and he's all in his little computer box and everything.
I hated that.
That made sense though. I thought it was a little bit
robot body. George, is that what you wanted?
I hated that whole super AI doing the algorithm thing. See, the good thing about he was a shitty villain, but they got rid of him super fast, so I was totally okay with that.
Yeah. I think it sets up Ultron though nicely for when they have Age of Ultron, because that could be one of the contributing factors of some of the stuff that they explained, of like what he was trying to do with Hydra, to be like one of the ground level things for Ultron, like in whatever the next movie for Avengers takes it like that, because he developed some sort of algorithm or whatnot to be like some sort of thing for the AI to like target different people. Ultron can use that same thing also in his movie.
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, I definitely think that Ultron is going to be made by Tony Stark. That's right. That's a given.
I'm still going with my theory that Ultron is Jarvis. That's
evil Jarvis as well.
Remember, Jarvis is an AI, and so is this dude from Hydra. He's also an AI or whatever.
Yeah, well, he got killed, so it didn't matter. And I want to bring that up too. I love the fact that it was Hydra that was the villain, and they were just secretly in S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Oh, that drove me nuts.
You didn't like that? Why didn't you like it? I thought it was cool.
Well, first of all, this is the second movie where S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff backfires.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about S.H.I.E.L.D. being a fuck-up then. Let's talk about that.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is worse. S.H.I.E.L.D. is worse than CTU in 24.
Wow.
Infiltrated, broken into secret agency ever. So, and you're telling me, S.H.I.E.L.D. was pretty much 60-40 Hydra. The way I saw the movie, it was like, yeah, we've been here forever. I'm like, how has no one picked this up?
Yeah, that is yeah. Because think about it, this has been going on since after World War II, right?
Nick Fury's best friend, Robert Redford, was he obviously was the bad guy in the movie. As soon as you saw him, I'm like, oh, you're gonna fuck everyone over. But when I found out he was Hydra, I was like, oh, like I thought we wiped them all out. But okay, fine. I can see, to me it would have worked out if Hydra was some sort of weird cult thing that that whole S.H.I.E.L.D. thing where it was like every other person was Hydra drove me nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have a problem with that. It kind of, a little bit alluded to what's going on now with the government, kind of. But but you're right. It does put into question S.H.I.E.L.D.'s, like, dude, you guys are a secret agency. What the fuck are you doing? These guys are right there.
Just the fact that no one kind of suspected that Hydra was still around, even though by the post credits apparently there's Hydra facilities all over the world and they're using alien technology and blah blah blah. And I was like, no one picked this up. And it's like, in the Avengers, obviously, the big helicarrier was used against them. So their next great idea was, hey, let's build 3 of these things.
That was genius.
Build 3 of these things that target just potential troublemakers. Where could this go wrong? And
yeah, that's the one thing I didn't understand about Hydra's master plan. It's like, okay, we're gonna make the world better by killing like 20 million people in the Eastern Seaboard. I'm like, how does that further your?
Well, it was throughout the world.
Yeah, were they just
potential threats?
They were potential threats, and they were trying to do it to kind of fit in with their Hydra. Because remember, it's a whole Nazi thing or Nazi ideology to fit in with their kind of quote-unquote master race. And that one specifically, it's whatever posed the most threats. They were going to eliminate them before they could even reach their potential to become more of a threat.
I actually thought that was cool because it's like, oh yeah, they're following people's Twitter handles and just
it's like a Minority Report thing.
Just to get an idea, it's like, well, this guy's going to be a Hydra troublemaker later on. We need to kill this guy now. So like, you even saw that like one of the little names that was highlighted was, oh look, Anthony Stark is just hanging out in New York, which that was another thing that drove me crazy. 3 helicarriers are going to destroy the world. Tony Stark is literally just hanging out in his office in New York.
Here's the thing, and that actually made it more like the actual Marvel universe because that happens all the time. There's like, okay, New York is getting invaded. Where the fuck is the Silver Surfer to take care of this shit? Where's Spider-Man? Where are the Avengers? Where's the X-Men? So it was kind of true.
Well, the X-Men, there's some weird Sony thing with like X-Men.
No, I'm talking about like
it's Fox.
Okay,
that's Fox.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about
this is just comics we're talking.
Yeah, this is just comics in general. Like in the comics, this is what happens: some big celestial monster. Okay, let's go back. Remember when Galactus invaded?
Yeah.
What the fuck was the Avengers? They weren't even there. So this movie was staying true to that. The actual Avengers were just not around for this shit.
Or Spider-Man.
We only had 2 Avengers.
Or like in the comics, where like a big thing, like again, like Galactus and Spider-Man doesn't show up. Like, hey, what the hell is that big guy doing there? Oh well.
I just thought it was weird that Tony Stark, like, we actually know where Tony Stark is. It wasn't like they didn't write. They could have just gave us one line or throwaway. It's like, yeah, he's in space or something. I don't know.
He was getting an operation. He was getting his his.
He's on his day off.
You made that up. He's in his building. He's hanging out watching.
He's on paid time off.
He's watching a replay of him falling from space to get over his post-traumatic stress syndrome.
One line
he had in the third
throwaway line. Also, I needed one throwaway line to know where was Hawkeye? Is Hawkeye not a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
That's a good point. That's a very interesting
Hawkeye
point. I could have dealt with Hawkeye in the movie. That would have been sweet.
Hawkeye isn't a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's an Avenger.
Actually, no, he is a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He was a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's a member,
I know.
of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it's just like the comics. It's like these guys are just conveniently not around when you fucking need them. Where the hell was Thor? Where was Hulk? Get Hulk in there, you know?
No,
No one knows what the Hulk is.
I don't mind that.
Thor was busy in Asgard, you know.
Yeah.
He's boinking Queen Amidala.
Yeah. So I didn't mind it because that happens in the comics all the time. It's like Spider-Man's fighting this giant monster, and where the hell are the X-Men? No one's here to help this guy. It's like every superhero team is in New York, but they don't all come together. You would think New York would be the safest place in the Marvel universe, and it always Times Square is always getting destroyed there. It's hilarious.
Let me ask you guys this.
One throwaway line.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Go ahead, Jay.
What I was going to say was, okay, now speaking of X-Men, okay, let's talk about that after credits or that post-mid credits thing with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Okay, now let me ask you guys this because I followed the legal stuff behind the scenes with Fox and also with Marvel. Okay, they came up with a thing where they're still going to appear in their own remote movies with them being in Days of Future Past or whatever other Marvel X-Men movies they're going to make with Fox, and then with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch appearing in this next Avengers flick, whatever it's going to be. Okay, now what did you think of their interpretations from what you saw so far?
Well, Quicksilver was quick. So they got that right.
And she was doing some crazy some magic shit.
Magic. So
what you know?
Are they called mutants?
Yes, thank you for.
They never say mutants. They say miracles.
I figured that was a legal workaround. It's like, hey, you can use them, but just don't call them fucking mutants. Oh, we will.
Yeah, exactly.
That was I was just gonna ask them, like, what do they call them? They're just like, hey, they're super people. They were born like that.
Don't call them
wink, wink.
What do they call them? DC they call metahumans, right?
Metahumans. Yeah.
Can't use that.
They have abilities.
I'm pretty sure, like, whenever they get like more into it, they probably won't use the term mutants or whatnot, or they'll kind of like steer around it because, like, what the guy from Hydra was saying, they say miracles, and he's talking in like riddles and whatnot. Like that. That's probably how they'll kind of handle it for the rest of the movies.
You mean Baden van Strucker? I should have had my monocle.
Yeah, the monocle.
Actually, he did have his monocle.
Yeah,
no, that's what I need to have it. Where the fuck's my shit?
I think it was cool. I think it was very, very cool.
I thought it was cool as well.
Yeah. No, I was cool, but yeah, it's like, are you gonna call them? They're mutations.
Well, let me ask you.
I would be surprised if they even say that. Though I think they just want to stay away from anything mutant related, just for like any legal nonsense.
Yeah.
Well,
if these guys really wanted to make some money, if they did an Avengers versus X-Men film, they just make some sort of deal and somehow make this thing happen. That would be awesome.
Let me ask you this though, guys. Do you think, remember, a lot of the past Marvel movies, they've always had, nods to this thing involving, Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. With this one, unlike the last movie, unlike the last movie, because remember, in the last movie, which was Thor: The Dark World, they had the Collector get another piece of the Infinity Gems, that, which was the big thing that they had on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this one, they didn't get any sort of mention or any sort of nod or anything involving Thanos, involving the Infinity Gauntlet, or even technically involving Ultron. Do you think that maybe they should have had something more alluding to that as an end credits or post credits thing, or do you think they handled it perfectly?
I think they're saving that for Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's what I thought.
They're saving that for Guardians because that's the next one. Because and correct me, because Guardians of the Galaxy, then Avengers, or Age of Ultron. There's no more movies after that, right?
No, there's no more.
Like
Guardians of the Galaxy is next, and then it's Avengers.
And that's the end of Phase 2, then, right?
Yeah, and then we start Phase 3, which is Ant-Man, and then wherever else there's going to be next.
Yeah, okay, so
Doctor Strange, all that.
Doctor Strange!
That pretty much confirms that there's a Doctor Strange movie getting made by Marvel. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't do that just for the sake of doing that.
Well, weren't they saying they wanted to get Johnny Depp or something like that? It was like
No, it was at one point that Christian Bale was mentioned to be Doctor Strange a long time ago, and I know Stan Lee said like he really wants to see Doctor Strange get put onto the big screen.
Well, that doesn't really mean anything. Stanley saying anything like that.
I'm pretty sure somebody over there was like,
Stanley has no real pull at Marvel. He doesn't.
He just gets a residual check for creating a bunch of characters he actually didn't create.
Yeah, exactly.
Cameos. And by the way, Stan Lee cameo, that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was pretty fun. Oh yeah, since we're here, hey Stan Lee, hey, how are you doing, my friend?
Stan Lee. Hey, I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
What did you think of your cameo in Captain America?
After that cameo, the movie stopped. And you can never watch any more of the movie because I made it the greatest thing ever.
I missed that shit. I'm throwing.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's great, man. Yeah, you're right about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Okay, like they have all the science stuff going on. Now they got to and magic, I guess. I don't know, because Asgardian they call it's not magic. They call it Asgardian science. So are they gonna go full on magic if they do a Doctor Strange movie?
Doctor Strange.
Well, they have to. Yeah.
I don't think so. You want to know why? Because the way that they kind of explained it as science and magic being one, they'll kind of blend between the two, and we'll know it's magic per se, but there'll be some sort of like kooky scientific explanation for things that are going on there.
Yeah,
like maybe they'll say like it's transfer of mass, transfer of energy, or something like that, kind of like what they did with Thor.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just thinking about Christian Bale as Doctor Strange. By the hoary host of Hogarth. Yeah, that wouldn't work right, man.
Well, why are they picking him? Because he was in the fucking Prestige?
No, they're not picking him. He was mentioned. He was mentioned as one of an actor that could
background, guys.
He's got a magical background.
If anything, for Doctor Strange, I want somebody unknown. I want an unknown person to actually play Doctor Strange.
I was willing to go with Johnny Depp.
No.
He's in everything now. Give somebody else a chance.
We don't need Jack Sparrow ruining our Doctor Strange.
Come on. The thing is that he does a decent acting job. It's not like he doesn't.
Plays the same character in every movie, though.
What do you mean?
Look at him, you're going to know it's Johnny Depp, not Doctor Strange.
The last few films he's been playing British people, so of course he's going to be doing the same impression of a British person.
Here's the thing, though, and here's
Just watch the Ninth Gate. The Ninth Gate with him in it, and tell me that isn't Doctor Strange right there.
But let me tell you something. Here's the thing with it, okay? And this is why I think Johnny Depp wouldn't be a good thing, because in all his movies, no matter what you watch from him, you always look at it as being Johnny Depp. When Chris Evans got picked as Captain America, because remember, he was originally the Human Torch or whatnot, when you saw his performance, you didn't see Chris Evans. You saw, Captain America. You saw pretty much, his interpretation of it, but it came off as just the character. You didn't get really a sense of him being Chris Evans in that movie. I feel like with Johnny Depp, it would be like
he can do a good job
rather than Doctor Strange.
Because here's the thing. You look at a character like Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange really doesn't have any sort of personality. I'm sorry. If you've ever read any of those books, he really is just a blank slate. So you
got a Doctor Strange fan right now getting pissed off at you.
Well, come on, Doctor Strange. All two of them? Come on, people.
Seriously. I feel like that Doctor Strange mention was kind of almost like their way of test marketing. It's like, oh, we'll mention Doctor Strange and see how people feel about that. And
you need an actor with a personality to kind of take that role.
Just like me.
Just like how I'm gonna use Iron Man as an example. Iron Man, Tony Stark really is a blank slate in the comics. He changes depending on what the storyline is. The only big character trait that he's ever had was the Demon in the Bottle storyline. Seriously. So
see, man, he's being nice about it. His character trait is that he's a drunk.
He's a drunk. So you take a character like Robert Downey Jr. because that's what Robert Downey Jr. is doing. He's playing himself as Tony Stark. Kind of this over the top looking guy. So I think if you get maybe not Johnny Depp, but somebody with a good personality to kind of champion this character, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, actually, I want to go back to Chris Evans because this is Captain America spoiler, guys. At the fucking
not Doctor Strange spoiler.
I think it's like it's funny because I remember when he first got cast as Captain America, I'm like the Human Torch, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
he convinced me in Captain America in the first movie, and then this one it's like that's fucking Steve Rogers, and look how built that dude is. Goddamn.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into the screen.
There was a lot of like Captain America.
Yo, man, you want to get a little gay on Chris?
Yeah, let me touch you real quick, man. It's not gay. I just want to touch your chest, man. That's all.
I feel like Black Widow had more lines than Chris Evans in the movie.
What happened, George?
Yeah, I thought that Black Widow had more lines in the movie than Chris Evans.
Oh,
he did a lot of just posturing and just a lot of this in the movie.
He was the solid snake of that.
Yeah, a little more humor. Yeah, a little more humor. And let me ask you guys this: what did you guys think of the Falcon? Because I actually liked him. I thought that was pretty cool.
Was fucking awesome.
I thought he was cool. I love the way they introduced him.
Yeah, I like the way they introduced him. Like he was right there in the beginning. You see, he's just he's like soldier, he's like retired and stuff. I love the way they introduced him. Your left, look on your left. I fucking love that, man.
I thought that was everyone was laughing when they saw that in the theater, but I thought that it kind of like, he wasn't shoehorned in. It felt like he actually had a purpose there. He actually contributed. He even gets his own moments, which I think was great. Yeah. Everybody in this movie has their moments. Which is what really makes it really that good.
I'm glad he didn't have the hell yeah moment from Spawn.
Oh no, hell yeah! I remember that.
Yeah, when Spawn finally got his powers and he's like, hell yeah! I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, they just treated him like a regular, not regular, but he was just another superhero basically. He wasn't just the black superhero, which he kind of originally.
Well, it was between him and Nick Fury, technically.
Yeah.
Well, Nick Fury wasn't always the black hero.
Yeah, Nick Fury was. Yeah, he was in black. He had a racial change. I don't know if that's possible.
But me and my girlfriend said this at the end of the film with Nick Fury. It's like, holy shit! Once he got rid of his sunglasses, he just became the thief from Coming to America. You ever guys seen that film? Yeah. I'm telling you, man.
So let me ask you this then. With the way that they handled Fury, kind of like, going into hiding at this point or whatnot, what kind of influence do you think he's going to have in some of the future movies? Do you think he's probably going to be much more hands-off, making more cameos rather than actually having a part?
I'm thinking this, like, are they going to do something like Secret Wars? What's that? Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion. It's like, remember Nick Fury was in hiding that entire time? Are they going to do something like that, but, like, the Age of Ultron is like the actual main thing that's happening? It could be something like that,
Yeah.
Like basically, while the Age of Ultron is going on, Nick Fury's in the background, like trying to fix stuff. Maybe recruit more heroes. I don't know. They could do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, now since it's not a shield, now since Shield has kind of been destroyed, what's going to happen to all of that? Like even now you also have to think about the repercussions on the actual Agents of Shield series. There's no more Shield, so who are those guys now?
And speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I love that setup they did in the last episode where Sitwell's like, oh, I got called to, DC for some bullshit. And I was like, all right, cool. And they're like, oh, wait, that's the movie. You're going to the movie. That's awesome.
And I mentioned this to Manny after we saw him, like, still, Sitwell, he ain't coming back. He got pushed off the fucking helicarrier. You're done.
I love it.
Okay, now, here's the thing. Was that character ever that, he was just unadulteratedly evil? Like he
wasn't like that on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was not like that.
He just kind of turned into this kind of he turned into like a cackly villain type of thing.
But yeah, that's a cool thing about what they're doing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because after Thor, right, the Dark World, the follow-up episode dealt with the repercussions. So next week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is probably gonna have to deal with the repercussions of that too. What happened in Winter Soldier. That's interesting, and they even set it up too, which is nice. But yeah, that character, he ain't coming back. He's done, son.
He's extra crispy.
And what's her face is now part of Stark.
Who?
Maria Hill. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Maria Hill. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Here's what I'm wondering, because the actress she's from How I Met Your Mother. Is she going to be on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now? Does she have to do that show?
Probably not.
Oh, and shouldn't she be the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. now? In the comics, she was the one that took over when Nick Fury went into hiding.
Right after Nick Fury went away, yeah.
Yeah. So she should be the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. now.
But the thing is that the way they were setting her up was like she got another job.
Yeah, I think she's going to be working for Stark now, which is like kind of a demotion, don't you think?
I don't know. Maybe she just got tired of it.
Maybe her and Pepper Potts are going to go at it now, and whatever the next time.
It's interesting because she should be the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. now, but I don't know.
Well, I think what's going to happen, instead of there being a S.H.I.E.L.D., it's just going to be the Avengers, because when you saw that those clips from those photos that were taken of the new Captain America suit, and it's got a big A on it, so I'm going to assume that A was for Avengers, not America, because he's got enough A's on his body already.
Yeah.
It's funny because he didn't actually have any A's in this version.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, on the helmet? Nothing on the helmet? Oh, when he went and got his classic one, yeah, he had the A. right?
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, when he got the classic one. By the way, Manny pointed this out. That classic suit was actually redone.
They changed a bunch of things about it. If you look at the original suit is a lot bulkier. So what they did was they just kind of subtly redesigned it.
Yeah, because Chris Evans said that the first Captain America outfit that he wore, he liked the helmet, the freedom it afforded him to move like that, but he couldn't really move his body too well. And then with the Avengers, he liked the body, how it felt, but he couldn't move his head too well. So I think they try to find a compromise or something with that, redesign.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. Now they need to stop giving them new outfits every fucking film.
Why? Why? I like that.
No, come on. Can we just keep it a little? It's just change some things. But every single film now, Captain America has to have a new outfit, or Iron Man needs a new suit.
Damn right.
Like, that black outfit made sense for the type of missions he was doing for Shield. He was in.
No, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, even like it's like, hey, I guess granted he did essentially go back to his old classic suit, kind of. But yeah, why don't you just use the same suit in the next Avengers film?
No, I like the idea of like this is a ceremony suit, so if he needs if they're giving him medals, that's gonna be Captain America outfit that he wears. If he's out fighting, well, so where does he go from here? Because I'm like, so are you part of Shield, or do you just join the army now? What is Captain?
I think he's not going rogue at this point. He's just Captain America. 'Cause remember, now he's gonna go after the Winter Soldier with the Falcon. He's gonna start looking for him.
Yeah, that's how the movie ended, pretty much. They're going to go after him now. He is just a free agent, So that could be interesting. There's a lot of stories they could tell, and I'm pretty sure they're going to probably base them off what Ed Brubaker was doing. This movie had.
Take on the name U.S. Agent. Remember, at some point he took on the name U.S. Agent to get away from Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. They got a lot of things, provided if Chris Evans wants to come back, because he said he's done after Avengers, right? Like after Age of Ultron, he said he's done. So
good. So then we can kill him off in Avengers, and then Bucky takes over, and then that'll be
Bucky.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I mean, it would suck not to have him. But yeah, I could go for that.
Yeah, as long as it's written well, I don't care who they kill off. Like you can kill off as many people as you want, as long as you make the story good.
It makes sense.
Yeah, Brian, I know you want Rhodey to take over as Iron Man, right? Remember, you said that's your favorite dude right there, man.
I want him to take over as Iron Man. You know what? I want the Avengers to be Venom, the Hulk, War Machine, and Falcon, and I'll be happy as hell.
Venom.
Yeah, because it's Venom. I'm a big fan of Venom.
That would be awesome. But nice. Everyone, hey Jay, show him your shirt, man.
Captain America shirt.
Put it up there. Here we go.
You want like a shirt off? You don't like Venom as the cap? Who would
I
win?
have that same shirt, by the way. I have that exact same shirt. I've got like 3 or 4 different Venom shirts that I have. I got one where it's the movie logo, the comic logo, and then I got different like comic art, like graphic art of Venom on here and there.
Yeah. I want to ask about Loki's staff. What were they do? What are they doing with that exactly?
I think they're experimenting.
Energy for evil. I don't know.
Yeah, I think remember in the first Captain America movie, the guy that was working for the Red Skull, he was actually experimenting on the different forms, including the Cosmic Cube, to transfer energy in order to make some really powerful weapons. They could be doing the exact same thing with Loki's staff, because if not true, Loki's staff I think has some similar properties to the Cosmic Cube as far as like the energy stuff that what he could do and whatnot. So it would make sense like that.
Yeah,
I was kind of happy none of that cosmic stuff was crowbarred into the movie, at least until the very end. Because I feel like that stuff didn't really fit all that well. That whole Tesseract thing and people firing laser weapons, like in the first Captain America, that kind of where they lost me a bit. But
yeah, I agree with you on that. I was like, wait, we're doing this again with the Cosmic Cube? It kind of seems a little weird,
I mean, you know what I want to question though? Where can it? Because remember, I think it was that I forgot which item it was specifically in Thor 2 that it was supposed to be one of the the Infinity Gems. I think was it the Cosmic Cube that was actually considered as one of the Infinity Gems to them?
Yeah, the Tesseract.
Yeah, the Tesseract. Okay, so yeah. So what other items do you guys think that maybe if they kind of continue with this slate, what other items, but maybe even Loki's staff, could be considered Infinity Gems or Infinity items?
That ball from that they pick up in that trailer in Guardians of the Galaxy. I figured that's maybe an Infinity Gem.
They could do that.
Like maybe super early.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, I found one, and then he gets arrested and all this nonsense and little hijinks and shit.
It's not like a shining color, so I doubt it, because from my knowledge, like all the gems are all like different colors and stuff, and that wasn't like blatantly like yellow or blue or red.
You gotta turn it on. You gotta sing to it.
But they're not even calling them Infinity Gems. Aren't they calling them something else now?
No, the thing is, the reason why I say Infinity Gems is because remember at the end, after the credits of Thor 2, where they go see the Collector, he comes out, he goes, okay, 1 down, 4 to go. like that. And it was like, okay, so this is one of the Infinity Gems that he's gathering like that.
Yeah,
The
you know,
only thing
it's
you
obviously.
see is the Infinity Gauntlet.
Ooh, man, I think that's gonna be the eventual thing when they give us the Infinity Gauntlet. Oh,
I mean, we've seen it in Thor. They suddenly showed it in Thor.
Yeah, I'm talking about
We've
the
never
actual.
seen it like in a new interpretation.
You give me the Infinity Gauntlet event on screen, I'm done, man. I'm done.
Tony's head explodes. It's just
yeah. So you know, here's a
Nice.
maybe the Avengers will continue to go on their Avengers kick and not hit an Infinity Gauntlet movie. What if they actually just did a specific Infinity Gauntlet film?
Yeah. Maybe.
Marketing-wise, I don't think they would do it because I think they want to still tie it to the Avengers name because that's like Marvel's big event. Because remember, Avengers 1 was like a huge event that everybody blew up over. Everybody's getting really hyped up over Age of Ultron at this point. I think that Avengers 3, if they get to that point, which I'm pretty sure they will, that's probably where this will all culminate.
Yeah. You don't throw... Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
No, I'm just I'm agreeing here because I think that all this it has to lead to a third Avengers movie with Thanos because if they leave that to the fourth, then that's leaving just way too much time like in between like Avengers 1 and introducing him and then collecting all the stones and the Gauntlet and like 4 films. It just seems to be a bit of a stretch.
yeah, and I think we're gonna start running into an issue of just trying to secure these actors
Yeah.
for this long. It's like, yeah, you can throw as much money at them as possible, but at some point, Robert Downey just wants us to just kind of stop being Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Or stop, carving off 2 years of his life to do Iron Man movies when you can.
I think a lot of this was figured out in the beginning before, especially like during Avengers 1. I think a lot of that was kind of talked up because I remember hearing different outlets talk about how okay, they were signed up for a certain amount of movies and a certain amount of Avengers films, specifically Avengers films, not just the Iron Man or just the Captain America films individually.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Actually, I want to go back a little bit, talk about the actual Captain America movie.
Captain America, like my picture right here.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the way they handled the whole man out of time thing? I thought it was okay, but I kind of could have used a little bit more of it.
I thought it was rushed. I mean, it was in the beginning. It was in the beginning where they showed Peggy, and I think it was fine where they kind of made nods to her as being one of the founding members of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. But outside of that. I mean, I would have loved to see scenes like maybe Captain America goes to the graveyard of World War II veterans that died, or maybe goes to other places outside of just the museum because I felt maybe just those 2 points, while it was there, it could have been maybe a little bit much more elaborated on, if not given a little bit more screen time. I think they just wanted to get it through.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Notebook did a good job of him trying to catch up on current events. So
yeah, I think you do.
Star Trek, but I would have loved to see him on a computer, trying to use Wikipedia or something.
Yeah.
Or just one funny scene where some kid is showing him how to work an iPad.
Imagine.
I think you don't.
He's trying to use it and then he just breaks it because he's so strong and he's like, "Oops."
I think you really want to get the story started. If you start getting into all that stuff, even though it is great, I think you really just want to get to the story at hand. And the story at hand was, S.H.I.E.L.D. being compromised by Hydra and all that stuff. You want to get it started as quickly as possible. If you want to spend all that time, doing. If you ever looked at any of the deleted scenes of Avengers, right? As awesome as those things are, where it's man out of time stuff with Captain America, it would have also slowed down the film, and they really wanted to.
I actually completely agree with you, but at the same time, I want to do those deleted scenes were great.
They're great, but the thing is that at the same, you could probably make a whole other film about Captain America with using those deleted scenes. But the thing is, you really don't want to slow down the film. You want to keep it, high octane. You want to keep it, at a good speed.
I mean, I think just little.
And I think
hints here and there would have been nice.
I think the stuff that was there gives you a good idea. Gives you a decent enough idea as to the repercussions of him being the man out of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Everyone kind of alluded to it. I like that one scene, Black Widow at the computer and goes, "Do you want to play a game?" And she had to explain to him it's from Saw, and she's.
Mm-hmm. He's like, "I saw that one," which is also considered just an Avengers throwback. But yeah. I mean, granted, yes, I would love to have seen all of that stuff, but at the same time, I just kind of wanted to get started with the story at hand,
Yeah.
At least
how'd you guys feel about the, Nick Fury's death, quote unquote?
I knew he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
We all knew that he wasn't dead. It was.
You're watching a spy movie, and we got the biggest spy movie trope. It was the.
Yeah, exactly.
I still thought it made sense, though. It honestly made sense because Nick Fury does that all the time in the comic.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, that was very Nick Fury-ish.
I killed myself.
Yeah, that's actually something I want to bring up because Brian, in your review, you said that you felt that nobody was in danger, right?
Yep.
And I find it funny because the very first thing Manny says to me after the movie's over, he goes, "You know what I liked about that movie? People felt like they were in danger." So,
I
mean that in like the grand scheme of things, it's like you can't expect like Captain America to die off or someone like you can't expect like a key character to like die off at this early in the game, especially if you know that they're going to be in Avengers. You know,
he looked like he.
That's what I meant.
The thing I felt about it was that it didn't seem easy for Captain America to do these things, even though they're showing a bit of a stronger looking Captain America and stuff. Him fighting all these other guys, him fighting Winter Soldier, even fighting that other dude on the boat, that was a little bit difficult for him. That's
They felt more like a match.
Exactly, as opposed to like in the first film where he's just bashing people away. He's
throwing
like
Nazis off things. I love
yeah,
it.
he's throwing Nazis off of things. Like even his fight with the Red Skull is really weak. It's like he just beat the shit out of Red Skull, and that's it, done.
Red Skull can't hang with no Captain America.
And then, but he's in those films they set him up as a super soldier as well, like a fucked up super soldier,
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. In this movie, like when he's fighting, him and Bucky fuck each other up. Like
the night fight. The night fight between them I thought was awesome when they're in the highway like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant. It's like these fights, they had like no real sense of danger or like Captain getting like really, really badly hurt. Especially that you've seen that these two guys are like matched up like pretty evenly, and just it was like the same thing with the end of Thor 2. It's like you knew that Thor was going to survive because he has to. And it's just
because he has to be in Avengers, man.
What I mean? And that's what I didn't like. But that's just me being nitpicky. Though, so.
I don't know. I just felt like he had a little bit of a harder time, even though he was more powerful, and I like that a little bit more than just hey, I can kick Nazis' asses and throw them off of buildings.
I find his power level interesting because he's obviously stronger than the actual Captain America from the main Marvel universe, but he's not as strong as the Ultimate Captain America. Ultimate Captain America could actually fight Hulk, hand to hand. This guy couldn't do that, but he's a lot stronger than like normal Captain America. So I think they did a good balance of his power. Like
it's weird because there's certain things like when he jumped off the elevator after that really great fight scene in the preceding fight scene in the elevator.
Oh my God, that was the fight scene. Oh yeah.
And I guess we got an idea of like his power set because we saw like heightened senses also. Like we saw him like focusing on people's sweat and just being a little bit twitchy, and I think we saw those really not only is he he's super powered, but he has superpowers of observation. I guess because
here's my question. Is that because remember he found? I was gonna. Is that because of his power or just because of his instincts?
I think it's more of his instincts.
Yeah, honestly. I don't know if it was like power.
It was a very unsettling atmosphere when everybody got into the elevator, and as more people came in like that, it became very unsettling. So I think that was more credit to him being a human being.
By the way, by the time he got to the fourth, when they made the fourth stop, I started laughing my ass off. I'm like, okay, some shit is about to go down. You got these.
You have to be sure because not even S.H.I.E.L.D. actually knows how strong this guy is.
It's like how many tough guys can you fit in one elevator?
Like we see him. He can jump out of an airplane into the water without exploding. But he's on the same level like fighting prowess as a guy who looks like George St. Pierre, or was that George St. Pierre? I couldn't tell. And they seem pretty evenly matched, so I couldn't kind of get a gauge unless he's just like a Superman who goes, I'm just holding back because I want to give everyone a fair fight because I'm Captain America. But
yeah, I don't think he does that shit. But it was just funny. Like, really, how many more tough dudes can we fit in this? You guys obviously look like fucking mercenaries. Come on, man. You don't need super senses to know some shit's about to go down. But yeah, that scene I loved it. It was like, yeah, I'm getting in here, I'm gonna fuck all these dudes up, and then all that other crazy shit. That trailer doesn't do justice how awesome that fight actually was.
I'm glad we got a short version of that because there is a horrible Marvel thing where they show too much of a movie in all the trailers. Like I feel like we've already seen Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's not Marvel's fault. That's fault.
But you're right about that. It's like remember with Thor: The Dark World. It's like when that big alien that was one of the aliens that he fought in Thor. Not Thor, I forgot the name of this show. Journey into Mystery. His first appearance. I'm like he fucked the Rock guy up in the trailer. I'm like so when it happened in the movie, I'm like you already know how it was gonna happen. He's gonna fuck him up. It's over. So yeah, I'm glad they just gave us a little taste of that. That elevator scene was just great.
Oh yeah. I like the car chases.
The highway chase was badass.
Like the
The
Sam
Nick Fury car chase was awesome.
The
Yeah.
car that couldn't fly.
It was it just felt like it just had that kind of brought in the kind of spy stuff for some reason. Like you have a spy film, you got to have like a kick-ass a car chase.
And when all else fails, you drill a nice hole in the ground and get the fuck out.
I thought that was funny. Every time that happened, I thought it just made me chuckle because it's hilarious.
Yeah, how'd they get out of the car? Did they wait for a stop and drill out? Like, how do people not notice 3 human beings leaving the bottom of a van somewhere?
Yeah, you're right. It's like, boop, 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 boop.
Or did they go into the door? 'Cause I assume
The Mario pipe entrance, it was like, dude.
like, is there no and what, did they have the privacy guard up? Does the driver not notice like there's people fighting in the back of his van?
Yeah.
That guy should have got shot. Crossbones should have shot him in the face for fucking up.
Oh man. But yeah, that stuff was fun. What else? There was something else I wanted to say about this movie. I'm forgetting. But yeah, I love the whole choreography of it. And the movie was like 2 hours and 15 minutes. None of it dragged. Everything seemed to fit perfectly.
It was consistent.
Yeah, it was.
It was paced really well.
I like that. You know.
Well, that's because we didn't have an origin story to like crowbar in at any point. So
It was
that
just go.
maybe goes back to the point like why there's not more of the like man out of time stuff. Is because it probably just would have slowed the movie down.
Yeah, it would have.
Ben, I'm pretty sure at that 2 hour mark, people are gonna start looking and be like, all right, this shit needs to wrap up. Like,
yeah. And people actually left before the credits. I'm like, what? This is a Marvel movie. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
One does not just see a Marvel film.
And the post-credit stuff wasn't all that great, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
the soldier scene really should have been in the movie.
I agree.
Like, cause,
what
and
they
the
should have done is that they should have switched them around and had the Winter Soldier one after the fantasy credits, and then the Avengers one after like the whole credits.
I agree.
That makes a lot more sense.
I agree.
Because I was like, okay, they showed off like the Avengers like this early on, so the end part like there must be like something super awesome and amazing, but it was like,
you got the payoff too early on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, give us the good stuff afterwards. Come on, man.
But that scene really should have been just in the ending sequence of the movie because we're kind of getting, this is what happened to everyone. So why do we have to wait to the end of the movie?
You know what would have been a better ending after credits thing? Like, instead of that Winter Soldier thing where he's in the museum, what about having Captain America go ask that girl out for a date that they kept alluding to throughout the whole movie?
Oh, yeah, that would have made more sense.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, Sharon Carter. Yeah. I like how they snuck her in there, too. That was cool.
Yeah, she was a little underused. Like,
yeah, she was.
She felt like a crowbarred character in there just for the sake of you know her, right? Like, great. Like,
there's more Captain America stuff thrown in there.
Yeah. Speaking about a crowbar, I didn't feel this way, but before I saw the movie, some people were saying that Scarlet, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow was shoehorned in the movie. I'm like, she
did stuff. She did a lot of stuff.
To me, when you shoehorn a character, you put that character in. That's when a character really has no purpose in the movie outside of just someone recognizing that character.
I think she did a really good job because she was there so that Captain America had somebody to fucking talk to.
Mm-hmm.
You're running around all over the place. You need as a viewer, if you're just watching one person doing all this shit, then at the same time, then the person has to start saying what they're doing.
That's the whole comic book. You can't have that internal monologue just.
Exactly.
Like that. So yeah, to me it makes sense. I thought she was good. I would have, like I said, I would have loved to have seen Hawkeye or just. Like I said, a throwaway line. Hey, where's Hawkeye? Oh, he's undercover in some prison in like Somalia or something. Like that would have been great. Or
you know what they could have did? They could have had a couple of those guys get taken out by arrows. Don't even need to show them. You just see the repercussions of what he did.
You like got a guy, just a guy who kind of looks like Hawkeye in the vague distance, just giving her a thumbs up. Like I've got, but I've got to go. And then.
He flips off the edge like, hey!
Yeah. I have to go. My planet needs me. That would have been cool. Just a little line in there. But yeah, I did like, I'm seeing 2 Avengers kicking ass the entire time. But yeah, because I read that thing, I'm like, and I'm expecting Scarlett Johansson not to do much. I'm like, she's doing a lot. I mean, she went undercover as that old lady. She was beating the shit out of dudes. That was awesome. Like, okay. And obviously,
the movie had a lot of like tech that was just not explained to us, like the laser drill or like.
It's the Marvel universe.
Like they have face changers. All right, cool. Like.
You know what? It's the same. It's they do it in Mission Impossible all the damn time. It's like, hey, look, he's got a face of face.
You know what I thought was funny that we haven't seen yet from this Marvel live action universe? The life model decoys. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like the actual people that are like just robots, but they look like the actual certain people. Yeah. I'm surprised, especially with Nick Fury being like so in depth with this and him faking his own death, we didn't get anything like that, which I thought was very interesting.
They kind of alluded to it in the last Avengers film. It's like, hey, this is the you've reached Tony Stark's life model Decoy.
True.
Yeah, you know, this is just on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought Coulson was going to be a fucking life model Decoy, but he isn't. And it's been about Coulson, so the other Avengers just don't know that he's alive again. They're just keeping it under wraps. It's kind of weird.
I think they wrote themselves into a hole with Agent Coulson.
Yeah.
Like, yes. I don't think anyone quite knows what to do with him, because apparently him being alive is like the biggest secret in the universe, but I feel like in Marvel there's always a bigger secret than that last one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the big secret in this movie was, oh yeah, by the way, Hydra's still around.
And they're most of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is half of S.H.I.E.L.D., by the way.
It does kind of explain why the hell, you know, Captain America, searching through the friggin' helicopter, finds a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. guns in there.
Makes sense. Yeah, like just Hydra lasers. Like, oh, okay.
What are you doing here? Don't worry about those, nigga. You gotta fight the galaxy.
Oh man, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else about this movie before we wrap it up?
What? I just didn't like Scarlett Johansson. I felt like she was like heavily less used than she was in like in Avengers, like skill set wise.
Really? I thought she did more in this movie.
We got her to see like spy stuff, like she was doing.
It's more true to her character, honestly. Yeah. She is a super spy that's Russian, so I think it was much more. She was a little more practical and actually contributed a lot more, in my opinion, in this one than she did in Avengers.
I agree. Yeah, Brian, why'd you say that? Because in Avengers she didn't do much. In this movie she did a lot, you know?
Yeah, in Avengers all she did was hit Hawkeye in the head. That's really much one scene, and that was it.
And run from the Hulk. Yeah.
I thought she did more like in the Avengers than she did here. Like, I don't know whether it's just me or I
was
looking at the wrong part of Chris or something.
She managed to fly a ship with a monster attached to it.
Yeah, that's like, Brian was like, I want to see that again. If you don't have that shit don't count.
You know what I'm going to say, though? This movie gets me hyped up to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
If they contribute to consider like with this streak of like how they did this movie and the way they handled it, and the way they paced it, and the way they kind of made things true to the characters, and they do that for Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think is going to be a lot more complex than this one, I think it's going to be awesome.
I actually have like a small confession to make. I'm not excited for that movie like whatsoever.
Are you just not a Marvel Cosmos fan? Because I'm not a Marvel Cosmic fan. Like I'm
not excited. Like it's a Marvel film that I've not been excited for. Like pretty much every single one. Like even Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I was actually excited for that. But this one, I'm just lukewarm. Like I don't know.
I'm kind of light on this one too. I don't.
Just because it's a lot of B-tier heroes, but I'm a James Gunn fan. So it was Tim Gunn? Who I forget. Which one's the fashion guy? Which one's the
James Gunn. Yeah.
James Gunn, right? Okay.
James Gunn. You had it right the first time.
Right,
with me, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of that stuff either, but I have read the Guardians books. They're cool. And with me, it's just the track record that Marvel has. Even some of their kind of shittier movies, like Iron Man 2, they're still enjoyable.
Yeah, they're fun movies. Like
exactly.
They don't go to, they don't do like what they did in, like say Man of Steel or even like Dark Knight in the Dark Knight trilogy. It's kind of like these movies are fucking stressful. Like you leave like kind of sort of bummed out, or like they live in a shitty universe. Like stuff is just wrong where they live. But at least in the Marvel universe, you kind of like you enjoy the movie regardless of what the content is. You leave out of there 2 hours just kind of like, all right, I think I got my money's worth. I laughed, I chuckled a couple of times.
They're entertainment, whereas some like at least the Dark Knight films and even Superman are trying to take a realistic approach, and it's like this darker realistic approach kind of a deal,
Which is ironic because DC was always the universe that was more like kind of
brighter and more
brighter. Yeah.
And Marvel's technically supposed to be more grittier. But one thing I will say though, is because I've read the Annihilation books, and that's kind of I got my basis for Guardians of the Galaxy. And if anything, I think this one's going to be, like Thor was originally, a harder pitch for Marvel for the mainstream dudes. But I think this one is going to have a level of excitement. I think what's really going to carry it is the humor. Because you notice in that trailer, with all the different characters that show up, there's a lot of humor. And I think that's what's going to really kind of ease people into like this mythos of who the Guardians of the Galaxy are, who these characters are. And I think that's going to work to their advantage.
Yeah. I still have a complaint. I wanted fucking Vin Diesel to be Drax the Destroyer. He shouldn't be Groot. I wanted him to be Drax.
He's not big enough.
Yeah, I thought Batista looked like when you actually look like the photos of like the comic version and the
he looks pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty much on par. And I don't think he says much, does he?
No, he just says Groot.
Not really, but you need a character like that because Drax the Destroyer wants to kill Thanos, and you're gonna bring Thanos in eventually. And isn't Gamora?
Batista.
Yeah.
Gamora is his daughter, right?
Yeah, his daughter. Yeah, so you have characters that are tied to Thanos already, so that's perfect.
Yeah, and even with all that, I'm still not excited. Like, I think something's wrong with me, guys.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
Brian, there is something wrong with you, but that's a whole other issue right there.
To an extent, I do agree with Brian. I'm gonna go see Guardians of the Galaxy regardless, but at the same time, I'm just like, I look at it, I'm like, all right, it should be okay. I'm not hyped to see it. I'm not, and I don't not want to see it. You know what I mean?
Hey, Brian, man, you go hit on that little. Did you ever hook up with that girl in the movie theater?
You still remember that?
Of course, that was awesome, dude.
No, I moved away. I'm now like the other side of the country now. So.
Oh man, that sucks.
She's long gone. Yeah.
All right, we don't need to go back in that, but yeah, he was macking on a chick while he was trying to watch Superman. There's actually
she was macking on me.
Yeah, she was macking on you.
I want some popcorn.
You feel like Superman there for the comments that happened?
I'm hosting this shit. Brian, tell the story. This is great. This is gold.
Okay. What happened is I went to watch Man of Steel with like some friends and family, and then I had my Iron Man T-shirt, the one with the triangle core, and then I was there just buying some popcorn, and I was like, yeah, can I have some popcorn, please? And then she was like, oh yeah, it's a nice T-shirt. Do you want your popcorn like salty or sweet? And I was like, I'll just have a sweet. And then it's just the way that she said this next line, it just confirmed that she was onto something. She said, and I quote, "Have you tried it mixed?" And mind you, that I look like kind of mixed, right? So I was like, "Have I tried what mixed?" She's like, "What are you trying to insinuate here? That you like things mixed or something, or what's going on here?" So
that was a complete epic fail. I'm just letting you know right now. You had it, and you lost.
No, but I like what Brian said after. It's like, okay, there's girls here, but I want to go watch the movie. I'm like,
there are girls everywhere. Like that's that.
And you should accept the kettle corn and just roll
everywhere.
You also got to understand that everywhere out of the east, the certain East Coast places, girls are a little bit cooler when it talking to dudes, but like go to New York or L.A., fuck, it's like hard as hell. You do something like that won't happen.
Yeah, so yeah, I just had to throw that in there, Brian, because I was a
the accent
like,
I still think you should accept the kettle corn. I'm just saying.
Brian was like, "Fuck the pussy, man! I want to see this goddamn movie."
I want to see the movie,
Be like, hello.
I'm excited. Like Man of Steel's coming out, and I'm not a Superman fan, so I was like, "Hey, this might be good."
Hello. Would you like to see the Man of Steel?
Would you like to see anything of Steel?
Would you like to see the Man of Steel? Come with me to the bathroom over there.
Oh, God. All right, guys. That's the show right there. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll try to do more spoiler casts for you because they're fun. Actually, spoiler alert!
Spoiler alerts!
Spoiler for the spoiler cast?
No, it's a
spoiler cast.
The spoiler cast.
Dead, man.
The spoiler cast is dead, but the spoiler alert has risen.
I love spoiler alert. That actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, spoiler alert. All right, guys. So with me tonight, I was joined by. Today is fucking daytime. We got Brian.
Here.
Yeah, okay. All right, Brian.
9:00. Good night, gentlemen.
Manny.
Yeah. Later, guys.
JJ.
Take it easy, people. Stay epic.
And George, you always go last, man.
What was Tony Stark doing? And Hawkeye. Where were they?
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you around. Peace out.
Later, guys.
Later.